What's up, Warriors? Welcome back to another week of Rivs Variety. I forget this is a shelf. I probably shouldn't lean on it too much. It is drilled into the wall, but still. Moving on from that little blip in my brain. This week I want to talk more about yoga. If you're into that, sick. If you're not, cool. What it means to me, what this journey of self-discovery has been like. Let's flash back to the fall of 2018 when I first moved to Australia. The first time I really spent any time in a yoga studio. Wow. I was fortunate enough to train over at Power Living in Bondi Beach, surrounded by some really amazing individuals. I had no idea what stepping into that studio would mean to me 4 years later, going on 5 years later. Wow, it's been a while. Crazy to think that. I practiced heavily over the course of 6 months, and then when I moved back to Canada, I did take a break for quite a while I was living in Lake Louise. There was a yoga studio in Banff that I popped in for the random drop-in here or there, but very infrequent. Back in November of last year in 2021, this incredible studio opened in Banff called Flow State, which I started to practice at then. It was something that I did from time to time, try to get a class in maybe once a week, sometimes not even that. It was not a steady, consistent practice. It was something I enjoyed, but nowhere near as much as I now enjoy it and see so much more value in it. Definitely through this road to self-discovery and understanding what it means to respect myself, reframing self-discipline as love for myself. I am a naturally defiant person, I would say, and like to go against the odds, really just not abide by whatever I've been told I should do. We don't need to see that. Let's just put that. Yeah, not follow societal norms or social norms, just live my life as I please. And that is so a huge part of what being a yogi is. It is pushing back against what common culture wants us to do. It is reminding ourselves that it is my body, my practice, my choice. If I show up and want to send it and give it 200%, I can do that. If I am just making enough effort to show up, which I really shouldn't even phrase it like that, as just making enough effort, because so many of my teachers are continually reminding myself and others that showing up is truly the hardest part. And I still believe that. I still feel that, even though I will continually now get my ass up and go, still fluctuating in the sense of it being constant or continuous or how much I would like to practice. But getting yourself up in the morning, midday, after your shift, whatever it is, and getting on that mat and giving that hour to yourself, it is the hard part. It's a commitment, it's a practice, it's a place to fail and get up and try again. It's a place to reflect on our mistakes, or again, what our ideas are of that concept. Is it a mistake? Is it a lesson? Is everything happening exactly how it's meant to be happening along this divine path that's been crafted for me? That sits very well with my beliefs. As this practice became more constant for me, I had been thinking about doing my 200-hour yoga teacher training. This incredible woman, teacher, mother, so many things, Erin Evans, she reached out to me about maybe doing my 200-hour YTT this season in Banff. I thought, heck yes, this is the time, let's give it a go. And now I'm halfway through that 200-hour sesh. It's split up over the course of 8 months, 3 near 10-hour days in studio over 1 weekend per month, which originally was not the way that I envisioned doing this practice, but now that I am going through it, I am so glad that I'm doing it this way and not in a 30-day intensive style. My body is absolutely wrecked after the 3 days of that practice, and just being in a classroom setting, a formal, structured learning setting that has always been a challenge for me. I am totally beat by the end of those 3 days and will like to take a couple days off after that as well. So I can't imagine how my body and brain would be feeling if I would have tried to do it in a different manner. But again, there was no other way, and this was the time for me to be doing this. I didn't realize how much impact it would have on my life when I had signed up for it. And again, I'm so glad that I'm doing it now. It is very much in alignment with these really big changes that have happened in my life, such as cutting booze, cutting weed, the desires I have to cut out some other things that I'm feeling attached to instead of feeling connected to. That is definitely a massive goal moving forward, focusing my energy into things that I feel a good connection with instead of things that have power over me, that have taken control over my life for so many years, for the entirety, nearly the entirety of my adult life and my teenage years as well. Spending more time in yoga studios, spending more time on my mat, surrounded by these wonderful beings who have similar interests and outlooks on life has shed so much light in my world. When I started to go to practice, it was really just for the physical aspect of it. There was some sense of seeking some connection to some sort of higher power, and I did go through periods of trying to pray to these deities in the sky, imaginary beings, originally related to Wiccan faith, where there's a male and a female god, and I felt related to that energy and that aspect of duality, but still sitting in the studio and trying to pray to these beings, it just didn't totally sit right with me. As I dove into my 200-hour training and learned about these ancient traditions and roots of yoga that have been around for thousands of years and clearly have stuck around for a while and moved its way from the Eastern world to the Western world, and now been on this explosive pathway of growth. The health and wellness scene in the Western world lately has just been booming like it never has been. Of course, things like social media and having the technology and ability to access these kind of things, maybe virtually, example, going through the pandemic, which wasn't so much of a resource before, or now thankfully being able to practice in studios with a full class of hot, sweaty bodies, everyone just doing their thing as they please, moving freely as they should be. As we began to learn about things like the 8 limbs of yoga and what this path to enlightenment really looks like, there were so many ideas and beliefs and traditions, things that I really deeply connected to that I didn't have language for, but here we go in Sanskrit, having these words illuminate so many feelings of mine that again I couldn't quite place into a box or illuminate into words. It very quickly turned into so much more than just a physical practice and has really been the main tool for me to be able to shift my mindset and focus into things that are bettering me and sending me in the direction that I have been wanting to go in, not for days, weeks, months, but truly for years. I've said this to many friends. I knew that there would be a point where I would not be able to settle for the suffering. I would be sick of the way that I'm feeling day in, day out, not being able to give it my all, not being able to commit to the things that I know I want to do but didn't have the capacity for when I was waking up every day hungover, whether I'd like to admit it or not. When I feel the need to lay in bed for a couple hours in the morning and scroll on my phone through useless shit that is adding zero value to my life, when I could be getting up and cooking myself breakfast, getting myself into the studio, going outside and enjoying the beautiful backyard that I have here in Banff. The last couple months have opened my mind up to all of the little things that I let weigh on me when I can just get them done. I didn't feel like I had that space to get little things done. But again, after working really hard to shift my mindset and practice gratitude, remind myself of all the good that I have and how the hand that I have been dealt is so much better than the hand that many people have been given. As I said in my intro vid, I love yoga so much because it is on and off the mat. I have to say that again here because although you're going in and doing your hour practice, which again could maybe just be for the physical aspect of it, once you do start to dive deeper into that mental bit of it, maybe into the spirituality aspect of it as well, it becomes so much bigger than that. And the physical part is such a boost. And there are so many layers to this practice that have added tremendous amounts of value to my life that for a very long time I truly thought could not exist. As I keep saying, it's a practice. There is no end goal. Yoga is a great reminder to break this idea of destinations such as, making it or reaching ultimate happiness. And we do talk about the path to enlightenment and reaching samadhi or flow state. It's enlightenment. That's the only word I have to give you right now. It breaks the concept of getting to this point and that being the high. And then what, right? What happens when you hit that high? You come right back down. It reminds me that regardless of what happens on my mat, that I am not that practice. I am not that handstand, whether it be fantastic or whether it be awful. I am not my thoughts. I am not this body. I am so much more than that. My belief is that I am spirit, I am love, I am life, I radiate joy. So many positive I statements. I've been using the practice of visualization a lot lately, picturing things like I inhale power and I exhale guilt, or I inhale magic and I exhale stress. I visualize bright light coming into my body, sort of like my chest being this lotus flower that shimmers and lights up. And then I exhale the dark colors and poison of whatever it is that is in my head that day. Let's wrap it up there. If y'all want to hear more, please reach out to me. My DMs are always open at River Lachlan on Instagram. Pop a comment down below. Send a like if you love it and subscribe if you want to see more. I love you, warriors. Have a great night. See you next week.